Good morning and welcome to today's assembly from Mrs. Hart. Today we're going to be looking at how we can all make a difference, big or small. It's important not to judge people. Never judge a book by its cover. Do you remember last week Dorothy and all her friends from The Wizard of Oz? Do you remember Scarecrow, Tin Man, the Lion? Dorothy could easily have said, "They don't look like they could be good friends," and she could have walked on by. But Dorothy didn't judge them. In the end, it was actually the Tin Man, Scarecrow and the Lion who turned out to be Dorothy's truest friends. They were there for her on her journey. Remember, people will love you for who you are. It's important to be different. We're all different. Look at me, what do you see? I'm as different as can be. You can look anywhere, over land, over sea. You never find anyone quite like me. There's nobody out there quite like me. There's nobody else but me. Today, we're going to be looking at one of Mrs. Hart's favourite stories. I love The Lion and the Mouse. And we're going to discover that kindness can come from the smallest of acts.
The Lion and the Mouse, read by Mrs. Hart. There was once a great lion who lived on the grassy plains close to the edge of the jungle. Each day he roamed the grasslands, checking that all was well in his kingdom. He feared no one, but everyone feared him. The zebra mothers warned their children about the lion. "Stay away from the lion. Keep your distance and all will be well." And the elephant mothers warned their children too. "I am far too big for the lion to hunt, but you are small. Stay close to me and all will be well." Now, when it grew too hot during the day, the lion would walk into the jungle, where the shade of the trees meant it was cool and dark. He would roam through the shady jungle until he reached his cave. Here he slept for a few hours each day. A family of mice also lived in the jungle. They had a nest in a hole in a tree, and each day the young mice were sent to look for food. One of the little mice was particularly curious, and he often ventured further than his brothers and sisters. One day the mouse reached the edge of the jungle. He saw the great plains of grass and herds of animals. He gasped in fear at the sight of the mighty lion on his rock and scurried back into the jungle. Each day the little mouse saw the lion walking to his cave to sleep, and his curiosity got the better of him. He just had to look inside the cave. So one day the mouse decided to visit the lion's cave. He knew the lion was on the plains, so he crept through the jungle until he arrived at the mouth of the cave. Dare he go any further? A giant paw trapped the mouse. Here was the lion. "Please let me go," begged the mouse. "I wasn't causing trouble." "Well, you are in trouble," growled the lion. "What are you doing in my cave?" "Just being curious, sir, but if you let me go, I promise one day to do you a good turn." The lion laughed. "As if you could help me, king of the beasts. But you are so small, and I suppose quite brave. Begone! Never come back here again." The mouse scampered away. Some weeks later, as he prowled through the jungle, the lion walked into a trap. A strong net of ropes fell on top of him. But the more he struggled to free himself, the more entangled he became. He realised the hunter would return soon. Exhausted, he lay still and roared softly. Then the lion saw a tiny creature standing in front of him. It was the mouse. "Let me help you," squeaked the mouse, and he set to work gnawing the rope. Before long, the ropes fell away from the lion, and he gave a mighty shake. The mouse found himself scooped up in a giant paw. "Thank you," growled the lion. Roar! Suddenly, the lion placed the mouse on his back. "Hold on tight to my mane," he instructed. And then they were racing through the jungle. The mouse held on tightly, his eyes squeezed shut. The lion arrived at the grassy plain and gave a mighty roar. The animals looked up in fear. "Meet my friend, the mouse," said the lion. "He helped me escape the hunter's trap. The weak really can help the strong." And from that day on, the lion and the mouse were best friends. Little friends may prove to be great friends. Thank you, my friend Little Mouse. You've shown me that kindness can come from the smallest of places. Best friends forever!
You see, Mouse was small, but he made a huge difference to Lion. Lion judged him, didn't he? He didn't think he was of any use to him whatsoever, but actually in the end, he needed him. I think this story is a beautiful story. It shows us that beauty comes from within. If you think about it, in isolation, lots of us have loved not having to put on makeup, not worrying about what we look like, not worrying about having to impress other people. And actually, in the end, we're all the same underneath, aren't we? And we worry too much about what we look like on the outside. Of course, it's important to look your best, it's important to present yourself well, but in the end, it's what's inside us that really, really matters. Being kind comes from within. This book teaches us a lot. Many people carry out random acts of kindness, so many of them we don't even get to hear about. The smallest amount of kindness can make a huge difference to many people's lives. Kindness is like a boomerang. You give it out and it comes back. I think it's cool to be kind. Seeing is not always believing. What do I mean? Don't always believe what you see. I've got some things for you to look at. So, if I was to show you this picture, what do you see? If I turn it upside down, now what do you see? Is seeing always believing? When you look at it like that, it looks like a giraffe, in my eyes. When you look at it like that, is it a penguin? Is seeing always believing? It's important to look at things from different angles. We all see things differently. I've got another one here. What do you see? And if I turn it upside down, what do you see? Do you see a beautiful, elegant swan? Or do you see a big trumpeting elephant? We might see things differently. We're all different. Seeing is not always believing. Do you remember the wizard from The Wizard of Oz? Dorothy and her friends, they thought he was the almighty, powerful Oz. They thought he could do anything. But when Toto pulled that curtain back, they were all shocked. He was just a man just like us. Don't always believe what you see. It's really important. Seeing, as we've discovered, is not always believing. More importantly, don't try to be someone that you're not, because really, the people that matter will be the people who love you for who you are. Friendship and kindness really matter. My friend Becky really matters to me. Becky's a really special friend, a friend that I think we should all have. Becky introduced my family and the school that we were in to a charity called the FAST charity in Romania. It was in a place called Suceli. It was a life-changing experience for all the children, all the parents, our family, all of us that went. We discovered new friends. The people that we went to visit were a community called the Roma community, and they live in great poverty and they are discriminated against. That means a lot of people judge them because of the way that they look. We went, we learned so much. We offered kindness and support, but in return, we gained hope. We gained hope that many of the people that we met, many of our friends in the Roma community, will one day have proper houses, food and clothing forever and not have to worry about it. One thing we did learn, that the Roma children that we met that became our friends, they had to be the happiest people I've ever met in my life. We learned that seeing is not always believing, just like in our story, The Lion and the Mouse. It's really important not to jump to conclusions. We'd like you to meet some of our friends from the Roma community in Suceli. Books are wonderful. I love reading. Be a bookworm. Get lost in a book. Don't ever stop reading. Reading can take you to magical places. Books today, like The Lion and the Mouse, we really learnt that kindness can come in the smallest of packages. Mrs. Hart's always believed that a good reader can go on to become a good writer, an author even. As Dr. Seuss says, the more you read, the more you will know. The more you learn, the more places you'll go.
Happy. Down came the good fairy and said, "Little rabbit Fifi, why didn't you make your head aching, scooping up the fur most and than you had?